there's things that you said earlier that that I want to unpack a little bit, because they seem to point towards a certain type of strategic thought, which might be key to a lot of listeners. And that is that you're finding, because you guys made the pivot that you did, and so I don't know if it's because you made the pivot and consciously said, we're going to attract this kind of a client, and then they started to come in, or if they are simply, you guys are simply being able to respond what's already in the marketplace. But, the idea of, in these times, paring down the size, right? The size and scope, including price of a project, but continuing to do things, to do it in quick time. It's like the small and the numerous and the short term, to get to a better place in very unstable and uncertain times, as opposed to attempting to do the big, the large, the longer term projects, which in a normal circumstance may be the right way to go. But I should also admit this resonates with us, because when you are in completely economically unstable times as we are right now, I can't think of another time, certainly in our lifetimes, that has been this unstable in society, and the economy as a part of that. Short term, but very strategic, very precisely placed marketing, or the way you're communicating with your clients, and then complete, execute properly, assuming it is, assess, move on to the next small project, kind of a thing, works better. What are your thoughts about that, maybe?
Well, I mean, we did this to be helpful, so part of a small business is your reputation, right? If you're a jerk and I don't mean to be crass, but if you're not friendly to other businesses, if you're not open to a conversation about what people need, I mean, you're not going to have a long-term business that's going to last, because people are going to be like, oh, I don't really want to work with them, they're not nice. Or I don't really want to work with them. It's not just the price. It's like, how do you interact with the other person, the other party, the customer, if you will, right? It's the same as a cafe. You go in the cafe and the kid behind the counter, the barista, is like moody as heck. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to go there and order my coffee there again. But just to give you an example, we're in Maine yesterday. We drive through this drive-through. We call in our order. The girl on the phone, I couldn't believe it. She's like, yes. And of course, yes, we have, these are the options. And I'm like asking a lot of questions like a Massachusetts person would. No, no offense to Massachusetts, but I mean, we're kind of like fast paced.
The listeners that don't understand, sorry to interrupt you, but for the listeners that don't understand, what she's really saying is, we are uptight.
Yeah, it's like faster. Massachusetts is business, fast paced. It's a Yankee state, it's real like, yeah, I'm not going to be crass. Anyway, I'm on the phone with this girl and I'm like, well, I'm friendly because I'm a Southerner, right? I'm like, we'd like to order this, please. And this, please. And then I'm like, okay, and do you have this flavor? And what about, how many versions of this do you have? And can I get and she was like, yes, absolutely. And we have, and would you like to, and I'm like, wow, now that is customer service, right? So just to bring the like food reference into a business reference, if a customer says, I need this and I need this tomorrow, you go, well, we may not be able to get to it in the next 48 hours, but absolutely, we can take care of that. We'll figure it out. We're going to learn how, so that was the kind of and then people go, once the project is done, I had a great experience with them. They were really nice. They dealt with all my 3 million questions. They helped me through this problem I had. And then you get that helps your reputation for the future. So I thought to myself, okay, we could be rude, or not rude even. We could just say, no, we don't take projects that are X dollars. No,
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
It's going to cost you $3,500. It's $3,200. It's whatever it is, So I was like, we need to break this down. People are losing jobs. People are having to flip and figure out how to make some money. We need to be helpful. If we're helpful, it'll keep us working. It'll keep us employed, even if we're not getting what we would have gotten before. And we're going to help somebody who needs the help, which is going to come back to us, right? It's the whole concept from B&I, right? The giver's gain. you give, it comes back to you. So it's, and that's a biblical reference too, right? More
It's like,
happiness.
that's right, yeah. And, well, it's like taking a playbook from the Great Depression. I mean, the companies that survived or ended up becoming the big companies of our country in some cases that came out of the Great Depression were those that recognized there was a massive change in the marketplace, and they found a way to interact with as many people as still had some kind of meaningful income as possible to sell to that market. They didn't just say, well, we sell Cadillacs and we don't care if there aren't enough people to buy a Cadillac. That's what we sell. In fact, our cars are getting more expensive now. They,
Right.
and I know because I've said that Packard probably did that or something. I don't know, but, and they ended up doing great. But, for the most part, well, what we now call, pivoting, it's just simply looking in the marketplace and saying, we need to make ourselves accessible to this changed market
And
because we want to stay relevant, and also because it's the right thing to do.
And where's the need, right? That's how companies keep going. Like, I think I saw that happen with Dropbox, actually, the platform Dropbox. So Dropbox during this time started adding other features. Like, they actually pitched to us, right? I'm using a personal Dropbox for a company. Of course, they pitched to me during the beginning of this. You can do this, this, and this, and this with the company version, right? So I go, actually, we're all remote now. We need that service. Whereas previously our IT guy said, get rid of it. So we went for the service. It allowed me some features I needed. They added new features. They pulled me into a focus group because they wanted feedback from everyone who's using their platform. And I was just like, wow, there's a company they're also changing based on what everybody needed. So you offer what your community needs, you're going to be able to stay in business. And if you're flexible with people, which I think is a good quality to have in business, I could be wrong, but I think it's good to be flexible with what your customers need, not just be, oh, this is what we offer. And that's that, that's not good business, but that's not good humanity either. Like, somebody needs something, like, help them with what they need. And that comes back to, and helps your company too, because then it shows that you're flexible.